All right, let's move on. So now let's talk about, all right, so I'm sorry. So now we're going to move into the week 4 assignment. We're going to be using CodePen. So let's jump into CodePen. I'm using Chrome. I would suggest Chrome. I've had the best results with Chrome. So here is our homepage screen that we once we go to CodePen. Once you've created an account, you will then log in. Once you have logged in, we need to create a project. This is where we're going to modify the HTML file. So there's 2 ways to do this. Here's your avatar up here. You can come, if you click on your avatar, you can go to new project is one option. Option 2 is to come over here under create and select project. So you have 2 options to create a new project. One thing to note that I'm going to demonstrate after we end this is that if you've created a project already and you've saved it, you cannot create another one until it has been deleted, because the free account only gives you 1 project. So we're going to go with option 2, and we're going to select create project. So create project. And there we go. We got to close this. Let's come back into here, and let's look at my project. So you can see I've got a project created here. I need to, if this is the case, I need to click on that, hit delete, and then it's going to say you need to type in the words delete project, and then this highlights it, and then you understand the consequences, and now we're done. So we've gone to create a new project. So again, let's just, I'm going to log out. We're going to start this over again. I log in. We're going to create a new project. That brings us to this screen right here. You can see there's nothing in here. The next step is to import the HTML file that we downloaded. That's the week 4 assignment. So I've already downloaded it, as I did yesterday. I'm going to go into Finder. You can see that it is a zip file, and here are the 2 files that I have. Once I unzip it, I have the HTML and I have the CSS file. So I need to drag these right down here in the lower left-hand corner. You can see drag and drop, or choose the file names here to upload. It's easier just to select both of these. So I select it, hold my shift key down, select the other one, and then I can drag them right into here and release. And it says upload in 2 projects or 2 files, and it is done. I close this, and you can see them listed over here. This is what I am editing. I'm going to be editing this. So again, Chrome has the best results. I've experienced trouble when I'm using Safari, dragging the files to upload them. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't work as well. So with that being said, the first step, once we have uploaded the files, is to change the name of the HTML file. You cannot use this HTML file as it is, because it's not going to, you're not going to be able, it's not going to, when you upload it into your hosting account, you're not going to be able to see this. So right now, if I can highlight this, I can right click and say rename, and just backspace. I want to have this index.html. This should all be lowercase. Very, very important. Lowercase. So index.html lowercase is the only file name that CodePen is going to allow you to see the file in full screen mode. Once that's done, I just hit the return, and then there it is. So you can see it, index.html. Now, after we've renamed it, now we can begin to make changes. So right here is where we're making the changes, up in this area right here. This is what we're changing, but one thing I would advise you to do would be make a copy of this. This is where we've got, or you've got to get your, the instructions. So maybe you take a, actually we don't want that. Let's come back into here. Perhaps that let's go into the assignment. Definitely, this is what you've got to get this information right here. So if we come back into here, I would take a screenshot of what you need to do to make sure that everything is, that you are meeting those project requirements. And from here, it says change the title, right? Title, your first and last name. Okay, so where do we change that title at? Right here is title. Line 5 is the title. So that's our first thing we have to do is just, as it says, change our name. You can delete all this. Okay. The next step would be to the program you're currently enrolled in. And I believe there's some other instructions there that we have to meet as well. So right down here, we went over these yesterday, the tags, H1, H2, the P tag. So this is an H1 tag and is used for titles. Replace this text with their name and make the text centered. So we know that centering, the formatting is done through the CSS style sheets. So, but we still need to add our name here. This is why I suggest that you take a screenshot of this so you know exactly what you're doing, because once you highlight this and remove it, you're not going to have it. So you can add, again, add your name. And I'm just going to put in just something, a little fun right here. There we go. Now, you don't see this updating. If we hit save all and run, now you can see it. So now the next thing we have to do is change this one. This is an H2 tag and is mostly used for subheadings. So replace this with the program you're taking in school and style it with a different font. The styling with a different font is accomplished in the CSS styles. So the cascading style sheets are where we make those changes. So project instructions. This is what we're on now. The program you're currently enrolled in. Okay, so you right here, let's just remove this. If I can highlight it, I can put my name in here, or you're going to put what's required. Okay. Again, you don't see it until you hit the save all and run. The next is, this is a P tag. It's used for body copy. So you have to replace this copy with why you enrolled in the graphic arts or web design and development program. So again, we can just select all this and replace it. So I can put something passionate instructors work to produce passionate students. I value being in a creative environment where I can help students discover and use the tools necessary to tap into their, let's go with this, tap into their creativity and blossom in their careers. Oh, very cool. Okay. We want to see this. Again, we can hit save and run. And there we go. So you can see I'm a little bit short on 50 words, but I'm still answering or addressing the question. And I just need to keep remembering to go back here. So I'm still addressing this question right here. Even though it's not 50, as I said, I'm not going to hold you exactly to 50, but it's still, it still needs to answer this question. Okay, so now let's go back into this. So that is really, that's all that's required. But you know what? We're having so much fun with this. I'm going to show you, since this is so easy to do, I'm going to show you a couple of the little cool things you can do if you choose to. It's not required. This is what's required for this part of it. We still have to do the CSS formatting to meet those requirements that the centering, the changing the font, etc. But there are some other things I'm going to do into here. What about bullet points? Again, they're not required, but this is just an added bonus, just to show you how simple HTML is. So the bullets, there's two types of bullets. There's one that's called an unordered list and one that's called an order list. So an unordered list is just a collection of items that really just appear in no particular order. And in most lists fall into that category. So by default, an unordered list is displayed with a bullet point. So you see that everywhere, right? Just a bullet point. That's an unordered list. So an ordered list is a list that's the order of the items, right? The order of importance. And that could be like, you'd see 1, 2, 3, 4. So sort of like, for example, a step-by-step instruction. They work the same as the unordered list, except they're defined with a number instead of a bullet, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So we're going to create an unordered list. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of those. If I come right here to the end of this closing paragraph, I can hit my return, and I'm going to add another heading. We played around with, I demonstrated the H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yesterday, I'm going to go with a 3 right here. And I'm going to type in the word goals. Maybe I'll even capitalize it. And remember, we close. So this also gives us a good, some good practice on opening and closing tags. And then I'm going to create an unordered list. So first I created a heading, and we know that yesterday there are 6 types of headings, correct? H1 through H6. So I'm using an H3, and now we're going to create an unordered list. So to show you how easy this is, we will add an opening tag. So the opening tag is just going to be the $, and UL stands for, of course, unordered list. And then I will hit the return. So an unordered list, what we're going to do now is add a listing. So each item in the list gets marked up as a list item, which is LI. So all we have to do is add LI. That's our opening tag. And let's just do something simple. Increase skills in critical thinking. And then we close it. This is great. This is great practice. /LI and close. I can copy these. So I don't have to redo them again. I can paste that, and then all I have to do is just change the verbiage in here. So in problem solving, and we will go into creative design thinking. And what do we do now? After this is done, we have to close this unordered list. So we hit the return and we know how to close it. /UL. And let's save and run. And look at that. There is our bulleted list, which is an unordered list. So now, what if I want to, let's create an ordered list. Now, one thing about an ordered list is that the only requirement for an ordered list is that it has to have more than one item. It has to have more than one item. So we're gonna add the opening tag, OL for ordered list. I'm gonna hit the return, and now we're gonna add a list. Remember, we have each item gets a list. So LI, and let's put in demonstrate skills students will need to succeed in school and the design industry. And then we close the list. And let's just copy this as we did before. Saves us a little bit of time here. And let's just change this one. We just highlight it. And we're going to incorporate real life experiences in concepts, examples, and demonstrations. And finally, one last one. Let's do, let's change this one to read, provide feedback. We love feedback that can be utilized to improve design skills and the learning experience. You can see there's probably a lot of typographical errors in here, but we're going to address that here shortly. And finally, we need to have the closing tag. Let's see what happens if we don't have a closing tag on here. Does it show that? Oh, there it is. But we still need to close this tag out. There we go. So there's our list. You can see the difference between them. A bulleted list, which is an unordered list, and an ordered list, which is our 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, the next thing we need to do is edit the CSS style. So if you took a screenshot of this, as I mentioned, then you'll know exactly what needs to be done. So there was specifics. This one right here, we had to make this centered. This has to be styled in a different font from what it is. How does this assignment help you improve problem-solving skills? How does it provide an opportunity for you to practice and strengthen the application of principles of design? Does it? Most definitely it does. We're critical thinking to solve the problem at hand. The problem at hand is, how do we get, how am I going to solve these problems that are the requirements? What about principles of design? How am I going to strengthen repetition, contrast, a number of different things? So yeah, we can. It does provide a great learning opportunity for us. So if we go to change the styles here, what we need to now go to the style sheets. So now this is where we're going to edit. And again, our name needs to be centered. This needs to be changed to a different font. Okay, so how do we do that? All right, so you can see that this is H2, right? This is our heading 2. And if you look up here, here's the heading 1. The heading 2 says text align is centered. This does not mean which means it is now aligned to the left. So how do I change this? Well, what I can do is very, very simple, is I can highlight this. I can copy it. I can move up here to the H1. I can then paste it. Whoops, oops. All right, we're gonna have to, it didn't copy for me, so we'll just change this back to text, align, center, and then this would read font family. Okay, so, and then it looks like we kind of blew out some of this type here, so it's not, let's just replace this with what it was. It was Gill Sans, or we're gonna replace this with another. We're going to replace this with a different typeface right here. So what I can do is I can copy any one of these typefaces. So if I want to change it to Gill Sans, here's a Gill Sans MT. I can just, here's the font family. I can type this in there. Gill Sans MT, comma. There we go. Okay. And if I hit save and run, look at that. There we go, center aligned. Okay, so what about repetition? Could I change this one, even though it's centered? As I said, this is a great opportunity to work on your principles of design. What if I want to change this one to Gill Sans, to strengthen repetition? Well, it's very easy to do. Here's my font family. I can just easily copy this and make sure I'm copying instead of, there we go. And then we just separate it with a comma, and let's save and run. And look at that. Now we're starting to strengthen repetition. We have alignment. Do I want to change this to alignment? Or do I want to change this to a center alignment? I could if I wanted to. All I have to do is come in here to text alignment. We can just copy this. Make sure that I'm not overwriting anything. And we can center or save and run. There we go. So look at that. What if I want to do something, some other things here that are required? So we've accomplished what we're supposed to do, right? This has to be centered. This has to be changed to a different font. So those are the requirements. This is, we really, without this here, this is your assignment, you're done. So again, I'm just giving you some added, some fun stuff, a little bonus to this project. Now, what if I want to change some color? Let me show you how color works. Some other things we can do with the CSS. I really haven't shown you how CSS works that much, and I'd like you to experience that. So let's take and do some other things here. So again, you can see how this assignment is relating to real world. Let's take and change some colors here. So you can see right here, here's the background color, right up here, the background color. This is a number. You could go to Adobe Adobe Color if you want to, and find, you know, a color. So for example, if I wanted to come up here to, let's just go to Adobe and Adobe Color. And you wanted to find some color here. You know, maybe I want to change it to this color right here. Look at this. I can copy that number right there. We can come back into here, and then this color, I can just highlight this color and paste it in there, get rid of the hash tag there, and the save and run. And look at that, it changed the color. The background, see how it says background. So now, let's look at some other things we can change right here. This is the wrapper right here. So if we wanted to change the color, this background color, we could do that as well. I could change this to, I've got a color here I'm going to be already written down, so I'm not going to go search for it, but it's a lighter yellow. And again, I got this color through Adobe Color, and look at that, a lighter yellow. So now we've got contrast. This is a white border right here. If I wanted to change that to black, here's the border color. So all F's are white, and if we change these to 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that goes to all black. Now I've got even stronger contrast here. If I want to change the border radius, let's have some more fun with this project. Here's the border radius. If I want to change the border radius, look at this, the border radius. If I wanted to change this to 80 pixels, for example, look at it change. It's a little too much, in my opinion. I might think about, oh, let's go back to 40. Look at this. This is cool. So that's it. You know, have some fun with this. Play around with it, but make sure you are getting those meeting the project instructions, what is required for this project. So next thing is, after I'm done with this, I am going to move to the next step.